Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. I'm a spirit navigator because I navigate between the worlds. And today I'm going to be bringing to you answers to your political questions. Thank you so much for asking them. I am channeling 60% spirit guides, 40% Susan. Makes her a particularly spicy combination sometimes. So just hang on and let's see what transpires during this video. Okay, let's get started. And if you're new here, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. That would be helpful. And I always welcome your comments as long as they are respectful. And if you want to know how do I ask Susan questions, well, hit the little logo. It'll go to my main YouTube channel, at which point you'll see some tabs. Click on community, and then you'll see my call for questions. And this is part one. There will be two parts. So guess what? You still have time to add your questions. Today is Sunday, the 15th of December. However, whenever you watch this video, it is meant for you. This information is here. I'm reading the energy, and you can come back and listen to it anytime. Sometimes the next day, I have some very awesome viewers that make timestamps. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Karen. So if you want timestamps, they usually are within the first 24 hours. That does make it, if something happens later and you're like, didn't Susan talk about this? You can go back to the video, look in the pinned comment, the very first comment, you'll find timestamps. It takes them some while to watch the video and do this. It's for free. It's a labor of love, as is this video. So thank you so much. Let's get started. This is an interesting question that we have here from Carrie, who says, will there be any surprises during the vote certification on December 17th? If you're tuning in, you might just know right off the bat, I'm a Democrat. However, my spirit guides aren't Democrats. They are neutral as far as I can tell, because sometimes they tell me things that I really don't want to hear. Okay. So any surprises during the vote certification? Yes, there will be surprises during the vote certification. Let's talk about free will, because you guys are, and I get it, like you're tripped up about free will. You're like, Susan, everybody's talking about free will. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that if I were doing a reading for you, and I was just reading your energy and whether you're going to get the job or not, I would only have to consider your energy, the panel of people discussing your resume or at the interview, and perhaps maybe the energy of that time frame in your life, along with your soul path. That's a lot, right? That's maybe 5 things that I've got to put in the energetic computer and come out with a likely scenario. Now, in this case, I'm looking at 50 states, right? I'm looking at hundreds, if not more, people that get to make a decision about this. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, it seems to me the energy suggests that there are some states that are going to just gum up the works, is what the spirit guides are saying. Also, they showed me a picture of a bicycle tire and somebody sticking a stick in the spokes, stopping the tire from rolling. So I would say, yes, there's going to be surprises. Could be Arizona, but it could also be, is Arizona a swing state? There could be some of the swing states have some challenges to the process, is what I'm hearing. These challenges could come from either side. Okay, so you could find that groups are challenging Dems that won, that say they shouldn't have won. I mean, we could go all the way back to 2016 or 2020 with the fake electors. We could go back to that scenario in that way. You know, in I think it's better to just read energy rather than for me to tell you the outcome, because clearly the outcome is not 100% predicted. That is also free will. And I would also say to you, sometimes when we predict this person is going to win or that's going to happen, what we're saying is the overall energy suggests that it's going to happen. Like, we're confident enough that 90 or 95% of the energy is pointing towards this happening. That's pretty hard for 5% to overcome 95%. So we're comfortable saying, yes, I believe this is going to happen. But we're never 100% certain because this is not a 100% certain planet. It's just not. If it was, you wouldn't have free will and I wouldn't have free will. Okay. So I think so the energy suggests that we're redoing the same lesson. So for instance, in 2020, they said that we stole something. And now we're saying they stole something. Okay. Just because they said we did it, it doesn't mean we can't say they did it. Okay. So, but it is about discernment. They're teaching us discernment. They're teaching us, do you really want this? How badly do you really want this? You know, and I know that that can make people upset because, well, we did the thing. We went to the place and we did the thing, but our thing was stolen. Right. Well, guess what? The things have been stolen from you since Ronald Reagan. Okay. Like this has been happening for decades. And now they have amassed so much power that it's going to be hard for us to overturn that. We're going to have to do more than just do the thing on November 5th. We may have to have other acts of resistance. Okay. So, yes, there's going to be shenanigans. I don't think that there's enough energy to suggest to me that it's going to put a stopper in the works. Now, I will say in the past couple of videos, I've been saying December 18th. The 18th is the day, for whatever reason, I don't know, that has a lot of energy around it. And I will tell you from my own personal life, like even this morning, my spirit guides have been trying to get me, and that's just how I would put it in my human language, trying to get me to do something. And I'm not fighting them. I'm just saying I don't think I can do it. I don't think I'm ready to do it. It seems too big for me to do. Did they give up? No. They found another route. I realized they're getting me to do what they wanted me to do from a completely different angle that to me seemed more possible. Now, if you guys want to know how to get through this political season, watch my Wisdom on Wednesday videos. They're free every Wednesday. It's a whole playlist of them called Wow, and you can learn how to get through this BS that we're having to get through. And you can understand how your spirit guides are guiding you. And then you can actually get further ahead instead of being in the closet with the blanket pulled over your head. Because regardless of what happens, whether she gets in or he gets in, we got a tumultuous time ahead of us. Okay. Regardless. And the way to get through this is to double down on you, to not let all of that out there make you depressed, make you sick, take you offline, because that is them winning. You want to know what else you can do besides doing the thing on November 5th? You can help yourself. You can heal yourself. You can make yourself joyous. You can bring up your vibration. You can bring up your light. Even if it's only spotty, even if it's like you bring it up and you get smacked down, that's okay. Bringing up your light helps all the other people who are also challenged. And when you're low, their light gives you some hope. This is not a time to give up. That is, you know, obeying in advance. That's like the first tenet of authoritarianism. Okay. So, my point by that little side note is that even if something, spirit is applying all of the possible maneuvers that they can to shake out this problem. The problem is like, it's like completely compacted. It's like you can't, it's like when you tie something in a knot and you can't get it untied because it's too tight. Spirit is doing everything they can to loosen this up so that we can wiggle and figure out a way to get through this. Okay. So these shenanigans on the 17th are part of that thing, because even if it's the wrong direction, it puts pressure on the problem. It makes us more and more intolerable, the guides are saying, of the situation, and more likely to act in braver and new ways, whether that's doubling down on our own selves or doubling down on our own selves and then running for local office. I don't know about you, but I'm getting text all the time about Susan, we want you to run for office. Susan, we want you to run for your local office. I don't know who these people are, but clearly somebody's been activated and they're reaching out to Democrats that vote and saying, get involved. I am not running for my local office because I'm pretty sure that the Republicans would have a field day with a psychic as a candidate. But you know what? Maybe I will, just to blow their minds, right? I mean, that might be fun, actually. you know, actually, I'm going to think about that. So let's move on. Yes, there's going to be shenanigans. I don't know that I see the shenanigans on the 17th or the 18th being enough to cause what everybody wants. I just don't think I see that. I think, and this is probably one of the questions, but I think that we're likely to have that outcome through the drone slash UAP or Article 5 NATO or some kind of threat to our country. That's what I think. I think that is how she could walk into the White House, is a delay. I've talked about this in my last video, right? Look how well delays worked for 45. Delaying a day bought him so much. Delaying a month, delaying 3 months, basically bought him time to buy the presidency. Okay. So I've been seeing even months and months and months ago that the inauguration might not happen in January, it might happen in March. So none of this is set in stone, because if spirit can get through in one of these other avenues, then the timeline can change and the whole thing can happen on Jan 20. You have to understand, this is not black and white. Nothing is black and white. You are not black and white. You got up this morning, you ate breakfast, you didn't eat breakfast. You might have done something completely uncharacteristic for you that you didn't even think about. And your partner, spouse is like, are you okay? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, well, why did you do that? And I don't know. You don't realize it's out of characteristic, nature for you, but your friends, your family, your partner, your spouse does. You're not black and white, honey. You're flexible. You're going to bend and grow with the situation. But if you're not centered in who you are and what you want, you're bending and growing for everybody else's BS. Okay. So let's move on. Oh, Lord. Okay, Sherry says, I'm don't read these in advance. This is all channeled. This is all spur of the moment. I have no notes. This is just raw. She says, hello, Susan. I say, hello, Sherry. Alvin Bragg is asking Judge Merchan in a new filing not to dismiss the 34 felonies. He stated that either sentence him before January 20 or hold it for 4 years. He recounted all the abuse Trump and team have done. Let me see if I can read the rest of your question. It's just not showing me all your questions, so ridiculous. YouTube, get it together. Okay, sorry. Against court and families, will Merchan side with the DA? Okay, I have a pretty good bead on Merchan's energy. He doesn't do much to hide it, and he's afraid. I'm just going to tell you like it is. He is afraid for his family, specifically his daughter. He has, what they're saying is actionable intelligence, which I think is like a law enforcement term, but he has reason to believe beyond the shadow of a doubt that he doesn't care about him, but his daughter, his family is going to be harmed. And it's not like they're saying, we're going to harm you if you do this. They're saying, if you do this, we're going to harm you in exactly 16 months, 5 hours, and 1 day. That's a form of terrorism, right? You're saying, you can make your decision, judge, but we know who you are and where you live, and you will never be safe. We will track you. We will catch you, 5 years from now. And the people making these threats are credible. Okay? He knows they're credible. He has worked with those ABC, FBI, CIA, whatever. He's worked with these groups, and he's been told this is a credible threat. You should take this very seriously. Okay, what is he supposed to do? Again, the guides are saying extrajudicial. This is the word. This is the word they've been saying for 6 months. Well, here we are. It's outside of the court. This thing that could happen, no one can help him. The court can't help him. Our civilized society has become uncivilized. It's mob rule gone amok. How do you protect these people? I think what they're trying to say to me, what the spirit guides are trying to say to you and I, is have some compassion. Because if you were in his place and they said, I'm going to unalive your grandchild at their 5th birthday, and your grandchild's only 6 months old, you're going to spend the next 4.5 years looking over your shoulder, not having birthdays in public, not going on vacation. What are you going to do? Have some compassion for this man, because he really is scared. He really is. He's pretty scared. This is the same thing for Congress. When I swear they keep showing me pictures and not the name. The picture doesn't help because I don't know the name. And why didn't I bring coffee in here? And what is happening right now? His name is not Lori. I don't know who Lori is. It doesn't even rhyme. This is wrong. Try again. One moment, please, while I look up the name. What did I don't even know what I said. Rory, what did I say? It's Romney. See, it's difficult, y'all. This is not an exact science. Mitt Romney said, after Jan 6, he said he had to get, and he said this on a video, so it's public. He said he had to get extra security to the tune of something like $5,000 a week, or maybe even a day. I don't know, it's $5,000, and it was extraordinary. And he said, my fellow said, a lot of these people cannot afford this. They cannot afford this kind of security, and they just have to go along. They have to do what they're told. Okay. So this external mob-like rule has its grip on our judges, on our congressional members, on our Supreme Court, and for sure on 45, right? So I feel like he could say, I'll sentence him after his 4 years. I feel like that's what he would do. Now, I can't rule out that he doesn't do something more bold, because the other thing is he's very angry. He is very angry at this. He believes in America, in the democracy of America, in the checks and balances of America. And he believes that by obeying in advance, that he's part of the problem, and he doesn't want to be part of the problem. If they were just threatening him, he'd be fine with it. But the guides are showing me, remember that judge's husband and son that got shot? They were going for her, and her son or her husband opened the door, and they both got unalived. There's precedent for this. Actually, they're reminding me, I have a friend who's a retired state judge, Texas state judge, who wrote a book on judges that were unalived. She's actually wrote a book about this. Okay. This is not pie in the sky. This is real reality in the United States of America. We're not talking about Mexico or Central America or other countries that have this kind of problems with mobs or cartels. We're talking about the United States of America, and this is where we are. Okay. So I think we need to ask a compassion for him. And I would just say I don't know what he's going to do, but I do think he needs to do what's the best thing for him until we get the upper hand on this mob rule, which we will. This isn't forever. I'm not saying democracy is going to go away. If you look at the mob, you can go back and understand that we have had this problem before, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, probably from starting from the 30s, and we have whooped it. We have conquered it, only for it to pop up over here, pop up over here. We're going to continue whack-a-moling this energy until we get a better version of our Constitution and a more clear sense of what Americans and humans want on this planet. When some of us are still voting for a carny circus wrestling fraud, then we're sending the universe that we're not sure what we want. And we're not discerning enough to understand when the disinformation is rampant. Okay. Number one. And number two, you cannot deny racism has a really, it's the root of this problem. We still haven't sorted out our racist tendencies as a country. And the United States of America is going through its Chiron return. If you watch all my other videos, you'd be, like caught up on this. But this astrology really means something. It really does predict things. And here we are. Chiron is the wounded healer. We're going back to the founding of our country, which was kind of yucky, right? Where we killed a lot of Native Americans. And then we brought over humans in chains. We're healing from that. All of that is being thrown in our face for us to see it and say, do we want to do something different now? Because now we have a new awareness. Now we've had a couple of 100 years to go through some motions, to go through some things, to grow. Did we grow? It's all going to be thrown in our face over and over again until we deal with it. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Pluto conjunct Regulus. I didn't say anything. Will Letitia James' office sell Mar-a-Lago at a judicial sale to satisfy the judgment? Okay, well, that made me laugh. Well, first of all, I do want to say the guide said this last week that Biden will pardon, preemptive pardons for people like Letitia James, Judge Mersham, all of them, the prosecutor in Georgia, everybody is going to get their own preemptive. Why that's important is it gives them power. Whereas, and there's no judgment here, because I think that if you or I were in Judge Merchan's shoes, we might be doing the same thing he's doing. Please understand, please try to be human. Put yourself in his human shoes. If you had a granddaughter, if you had a daughter, okay, just think about that. So we go into Letitia James, and that's a different story, because, and I'm sorry I'm dropping so much metaphysical, energetic stuff, but you guys just have to understand this, okay? I am a white woman. I don't know nothing what I'm talking about, except for that I'm going to tell you what Spirit is saying. Black men and women have been oppressed and repressed for the whole damn time they've been in this country. They're used to it. They're used to threats. They're used to violence. That doesn't hit them the same way it hits white people. White people are not used to this. We're like, oh, shite. So I'm just saying to you, this is another reason why women, and specifically Black women, are going to bring down 45, because look, they done seen it. They lived it. They saw it. None of these Black women came from some silver spoon, from some upper crust, world where they never saw anything. Okay. So why does that matter? It matters because Letitia James will likely be happy to sell Mar-a-Lago, whereas Judge Mershon might be like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I need to take a break. I need to, he might dance around and give you guys some confusing. I'm not saying he won't do it, but I'm saying that the odds of him standing firm in the face of 45 is 8%, the guide said. 8%. It could happen. It could happen. When I go on Letitia James's energy, 98%. 98%. Give me an opportunity. Give me an opportunity to sell that house. I'll put that house on the auction block. And again, they're showing me, who would have ever thought that y'all got to do better. I'm telling you right now, I'm channeling, and you switch to a photo. And oh, thank you, InfoWars. InfoWars. Who would have ever thought that the powerful InfoWars guy who made millions and millions and millions of dollars off of the pain and suffering of kids that got unalived in school, you know what's. Who would have ever thought that guy would be stripped of his money? Well, guess what? The Onion is trying to buy. I mean, they did buy it, but now the court has gone back and said maybe you can't buy it. Do y'all know what The Onion is? The Onion is a fake news site. It's all about the jokes, right? It's all about, it's not real. The Onion bought InfoWars. Okay, do y'all see where we are? Expert level craziness. That's where we are. Expert level. Okay, so if the Onion can attempt to buy InfoWars, and I think they probably will buy it, although I'm not sure, then Letitia James can sell Mar-a-Lago to, Cory Booker. You know what I mean? Or who knows who, right? Tyler Perry. That's the crazy world we are in right now. It is not black and white, because obviously the Onion bought InfoWars through the help of the Sandy Hook parents, who said, we'll take less money, we'll take a different deal, we'll take less cat. It was a different deal. Then the court decided it should be. Everybody agreed to it, but because it was different than the way it was supposed to go down, it was challenged. And now something might change. You never know. A billionaire might buy InfoWars. I'm sorry, you guys. It's not black and white. Nothing is black and white. The spirit guides show me a tug of war where, it goes this way, it goes this way, it goes this way, it goes this way. The rope is strong. The two sides are strong. I don't know. Sometimes they're winning. Sometimes we're winning. Sometimes they're winning. You see it. I'm showing it to you right now. But I'm also saying that I wouldn't mess with Letitia James because she's made of a different thing. Her ancestry is different. The power she's bringing to this life is different. And thankfully, there's thousands of Letitia James out there. And if somebody does something to Letitia James, another Letitia James will pop up, because this is how we're moving forward. Okay. The energy is pushing us to make these changes. Right now, it's a fight. It's a battle. There's no clear winner. But the clear winner is the arc of our evolution. The arc of our evolution is not backwards. We've never gone backwards. Look at history. We've never really gone backwards. We are not experiencing the Civil War, even though astrologically we are in the energy of the Civil War. That energy is manifesting, perhaps, in brother against brother, sister against sister, MAGA against Dem. But it's not manifesting so far in bloody battles. Okay, so Humans are arcing in the right direction. Sometimes we slide back, but we never go all the way back. We're still making forward progress. It's important for you to understand that. Okay. So, yeah, I think Letitia James will do it, or someone from her office. There's a reason I said if Letitia James doesn't do it, somebody else will. That could mean that, again, Spirit says this is the end result. The end result is Mar-a-Lago gets sold. Spirit gets blocked, they go this way. They get blocked, they go that way. You can block and block and block, but eventually water finds the ocean. Okay? So don't worry about these setbacks. It's the arc. It's the arc that matters. Okay. Let's move on to, let me see how long I've been yammering because I swear to God, I'm going to make these shorter. MJ Andrews and Susan Adair says basically the same thing. Hi, Susan. I've been feeling like something big, unprecedented is going to happen. Are the guides giving us any clues as to when? I want to be prepared mentally and physically. And Susan says, I swear it's about to blow anybody else feeling it. And there's a whole bunch of you who are chiming in with this. The thing that's going to blow is going to be a series of things. They're showing me like Mount Vesuvius, like they're showing me a volcano. It doesn't just blow once. An earthquake doesn't just happen once. There's tremors, there's the earthquake, there's aftershocks. This is why I want you guys to understand that you need to be flexible and you need to unplug. And you need to stop thinking the worst thing is going to happen, because the worst thing is not going to happen. Whatever the worst thing you think could happen, it's not going to happen. Could be disappointments, but we've already had a lot of disappointments, right? So it's just not, you guys. If 45 gets in, and 2 days ago it was all Kamala's. Yesterday, it's 45s. It's the tug of war. I can't tell you. And I'll say why I can't tell you, because we have a lesson to learn. And either one of these people will teach us the lesson. 45 gives us the lesson really quickly. Within 10 days, we're going to have some pretty big upsets. And within 6 months, I mean, I'll just tell you, he will not be president for 4 years. Even if Vance gets in, he will not be president. They're going to be impeached. And if this lasts until the midterms, believe me when I say that even though the Democrats haven't said anything about all the things that are happening, it doesn't mean that they're not working on it. They're going to fix this on the down low because they don't want to worry everybody about it. So by midterms, we'll have a Democratic speaker. And if you impeach the president and the vice president, guess who's president? The Democratic speaker. Okay. To me, that's worst case scenario. Swear to God, that's worst case scenario. So I think that the big things that are happening are a series of blows that are necessary. We have to be shaken awake. You know what the guides told me? And I was going to do a whole video on this just by itself, but I'll try to just make it very quick. The guides told me, let me see if I can get it out in one fell swoop. And math is not my thing, okay? But let's just say that actual MAGAs, like diehard MAGAs, represent, for just to keep the math easy, 15% of of the United States population. There's 40% of Americans that don't give a about politics. They don't think it matters to them. They just don't care. I mean, and there's 1,000 reasons why. 1,000 reasons why. And it's valid for each of them, and they don't care. Add those two numbers together, you get 65%. 65% of Americans think that 45 won. 65% of Americans think everything was normal. Now imagine if you pulled the rug out from under 65% of the country and said, no, we're right and you're wrong. We don't have any proof. We really can't prove it. But, if you look at the way all this went down, you can clearly see it was wrong. And, you're just going to have to trust us. Do y'all really think that's going to fly? I mean, seriously, you're realistic people. You guys are smart people. That's not going to fly. That is not an option. It's just not an option. Okay. So, what can happen is Article 5 or the drones become a problem in the sense that, Biden says this is an attack on our nation. People come together when there's a big natural disaster or when there's an attack. An attack. We're all under attack, is what the guides are saying. Well, if we're all under attack, then we're all together. It's not red or blue anymore. It's we're under attack. That's something big that could happen. I don't think it's going to happen on the 18th. I feel like it could happen between the 20th and the 5th of January. The other thing you should know is these things that everybody did on the 5th of November have to be certified for there to be a crime anyway. There's no crime if they're not certified. The crime never happened until it's certified. So we have to wait till after the certification for there to be a crime. Okay. And the last thing too is that even if he gets in, so there's also energy around him getting in and getting tossed out. How is that possible? How did InfoWars go down? How did Tucker Carlson lose his spot on TV and the millions of dollars that went into him overnight? You guys want to say that nothing's ever going to happen? You naysayers out there, Susan's just spreading false hope, nothing's ever going to happen. I'm giving you examples of things that happened that we never thought would happen. Therefore, you cannot tell me something big, something seismic can't happen. Okay? I'm sorry, it can. It is not 100%. And even if it was 100%, guess what? We all have our own free will to react to the stimulus in the way we want to react to it, right? So if Five Eyes, if foreign intelligence comes out and says, Biden, here's what it is. Please do us a favor. Save the world, save us and yourself. Here's the evidence. Please, sir, please. Well, we're in a place we've never been before. Biden has to take that evidence and do what with it? What do? Do you go to the public and say, I'm not stepping down because or do you say, I'm installing Harris because I've got this evidence right here and there's no court, there's no jury by your peers, there's no constitution involved in this. I am saying this happened and I am saying she is your president. Isn't that what 45 just did? Do you guys see the duality? How we're having to learn the lesson on both sides? Perhaps on this situation, we're in the right. Perhaps we are truly in the right, but we have to prove it to 65% of Americans who do not think so, who do not believe this, who've been hoodwinked, or who are too, whatever, fill in the blank, busy, sad, depressed, ostracized to care. All that means to not be helpless. You're not helpless. You've always been helpless in the fact that you have one count. You count as one person in every single time that you've gone to a polling place. You've counted on others to, do the thing like you're doing the thing. If you feel helpless, then you need to understand that you're living a life. You're a human, breathing, going to work, taking care of your pets, taking care of your kids, your grandkids. Are you really helpless? No, you're really not. What you're doing is you're giving all your energy to those things. And you feel helpless because those things are not powering you. They're not feeding your soul. That's why you feel so bad. If you had, you know, more agency in your life, you would say to yourself, okay, bad things are going to happen. We're in for a rough road. I need to batten down the hatches. I need to take care of some things. I need to be aware of my surroundings. I need to be aware of what's going on. That's not feeling helpless. That's feeling in control. You're saying, this might happen. Let me prepare. It might snow tomorrow. Am I helpless? Or do I put salt on my steps? You guys bring it down to your life and understand you're doing things in your daily life that prove you're surviving, that prove you have control over your sphere of influence, which is not Biden. It's not Mershon. It's not Tish James. It's not 45. It's not Vance. It's not Musk. It's you. This is all you have right here. This is it. Am I gonna live to the other side of this? I better start eating better. I better stop watching news. I better start taking better care of myself. Then you become a warrior. Then your light becomes a force that adds to other light, that adds to the toppling of this energy. One more question. I'm going to do part 2. Linda Bruce wants to know, how did 45 get his picture on the cover of Time magazine? Hitler was on the cover of Time magazine. Time magazine puts the person with the most potential to get eyeballs on the cover of their magazine. They don't put the person who's the saintliest, they put the person that is the most controversial. Believe me, if Harris had won, she would be controversial. And she might be on the cover, or she might not be. Perhaps 45 would still be on the cover because they're selling magazines. We live in a world of money. It's all about the money. It's not about, doing the right thing. It's about, I need to fill my pockets with money. That's why media is dissolving. The guides told you months ago, media would dissolve. Here we are. We're not watching CNN as much. We're not watching MSNBC as much. Lindy Lee, which is one of these people that I followed all during the election, was so in Harris's camp. She has a platform on social media. She's been on all those, I think she's been on CNN, she's been on MSNBC. She has now put on the red hat. Overnight, she put on the red hat. She's an opportunist. Did that shock me? Yes. Did that upset me? Yes. Guess what? This earthquake that we're going through is going to shake out the true nature of people. And it's on us to accept it, to say, I'm never going to trust Lindy Lee again. Maybe I'm never going to trust a certain congressperson again. There's a lot of things going on with Fetterman right now. I don't think that's going to play well for him, right? I don't think you obey in advance and you get reelected. The Democrats have to decide, who are we? We don't want this. We don't want these people that are not in our vibrational alignment. And Nancy Pelosi's fighting AOC. Who do you want in office? An 80-something-year-old woman that just fell and hurt herself, or a young, vibrant woman that represents where we're going. The old guard is fighting to save their life. And some of these people have been in there so long that they've gotten enriched. Nancy Pelosi is one of them, have gotten enriched by their contacts, by maybe it's not insider trading, maybe it's not, but she's certainly in the mix of who's lobbying, who's got a lot of money to lobby Congress. Well, that's a pretty good bet that you should just go ahead and get their stock. These are all changes, you guys. Big seismic changes. I had predicted the Republican Party would be cut in half a year ago. Well, I don't know, maybe more than that. I have a video states that very thing. But a few months ago, I stated that the guide stated that the Democratic Party is going to be cut in half. These are seismic changes. And if you believe that this is right and this is wrong, and it upsets you so much when people like Fetterman or Lindy Lee or Nancy Pelosi do something that shakes you to your core. Oh, I really believed in them. That's what we're trying to learn the lesson of. Trust but verify. Don't just believe in me for love. Don't take me with a grain of salt. Take everything with a grain of salt. Take some personal responsibility that, I think Susan's right when I look at all these other things, it kind of makes sense. Or I don't think Susan's calling this one right. I think I'm going to go a different direction. Be respectful to me, but disagree. I have people on my channel where we literally disagree right in front of you. We've modeled this for you. So please understand, the energy is malleable, it's changeable, but the arc is the right direction. And if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be on the other side of that arc with me to see it. So I really want you to take good care of you. And believe me, I hear my own words. Believe me, my spirit guides have kicked me in my booty. So this message is also for me. I'm a human, just like you. I get upset, I get angry, I get depressed, just like you. Okay? But this is what they're telling me. Susan, we need you to be healthy enough to continue this work. And you can't do it if you're at the fire hose consuming toxic energy. So take the fire hose, push it over to the side, and gulp some good, clean, happy, joyful energy because it's there. It's there. We're in the tunnel. It's dark. Not gonna lie. But there is a light. It might be a glimmer. It might be a tiny thing, or it might be a huge light. It's not a locomotive coming to kill you. It's not. And you're not dying. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. And the light at the end of the tunnel are people that are taking care of themselves, that are celebrating the birthday, that are going for the walk, that are playing with their kids and their pets, that are taking the class, that are taking the trip, that are getting the nap, that are eating healthy, that are taking the time to laugh. Those people are our light. They're holding our light because it's dim where we are. When we get to that light, we become the light. We do those things. So the people behind us in the tunnel have something to guide them out of the tunnel. Self-care is helping others. Helping others often is not self-care. Okay? I will be back with part 2 pretty quickly. I got to tell you guys, I think bad things are going to happen, but I'm not panicked. I would tell you, if y'all know, if you watch me, you know when I'm panicked. I'm not sure it's going to go down the way I want. I'm not sure it's going to, honestly, sometimes I feel bad for Harris. If she got in, it would be crappy, but that's what I saw. 4 years ago, I saw her being an unpopular president, but a fair president, the law and order president, ruling a divided country. That's what I saw 4 years ago. This sounds like it. It sounds like it. However, they stole her destiny. They stole it. That can happen. Believe it or not, that can happen. Even though, let's say 98% of the time, your crossing over is, you've got like several exit points. Let's put it that way. Several exit points to leave. Well, sometimes an accident just catches you off guard and you end up over there. Sometimes you're sent back because you have a near-death experience. Sometimes they're like, oh, you have to just stay here. It's not your time to go, but you have to stay here. It broke your free will. It broke your karmic destiny. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Like, say, 2% of the time. Let's say you get murdered. That wasn't in your karmic destiny. They couldn't send you back for some reason. That's outside of your game that you designed, your soul contract. This was outside of Harris's soul contract. So far. If 45 gets in, this is a karmic imbalance that happened. It happens infrequently, but it does happen. Okay? That's why it's important to understand the metaphysical. It really is empowering you to understand all these concepts. It's giving you the power to understand your own life. Why did I have that terrible relationship? Well, because you wanted to learn how to stand up for yourself, or you wanted to learn how to use your voice, or you wanted to learn what it was like to have a loss. I lost my mom at 7. Why? Did I sign up for that? Yes. Why? For all those reasons. Okay? I'm speaking my own experiences here. I've lived the stuff that I tell you guys about. Okay? So I can talk about it. Really, I can. So it's going to be okay. If she gets it, we still have lessons to learn. If she doesn't get it, we still have lessons to learn. It's not like she gets in, waves a magic wand, and we all go back to 2022 or 2023 or even 2024. We're going into a new lesson where we have to learn these things. We have to. We don't get a pass. Okay? Let me know in the comments what you think and take really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only.